4. This is the time of my namesake Deborah and Barak. And let me just try and set the scene a little bit. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahuwah when Ehud was dead. And Yahuwah sold them into the land of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosis of the Gentiles. And the children of Israel cried unto Yahuwah, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. So then Deborah says, we need to go and fight the battle. And Barak is like, I'm not going without you. And she's like, that's cool, I'll go. But, Yahuwah's going to fight our battle for us. In fact, he's going to use a woman. And so we find that she was correct. So Yahuwah causes the people that are coming, Sisera and his army, to start killing each other. And then they start running away from the children of Israel. And when they do, Barak and his army runs in and starts killing them. But Sisera, the captain of that army, gets away. And that's where we're going to pick up right here. And we're going to learn a little bit about Jael, which is a woman. And let's see what role she has to play. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber, the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera, and said unto him, Turn in, my lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned into her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and gave him to drink, and covered him. Again he said to her, Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, Is there any man here? That thou shalt say, No. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it to the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him, and said unto him, Come, and I will show you the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temple. So Yahuwah decided he was going to use a woman. And I think one reason that he chose to use a woman here is because Barak was afraid to go to war without a woman. And I don't think he wanted Deborah to do this job either, because he didn't want Barak to be hanging on to a woman to do what a man was supposed to do. Sometimes Yahuwah will use a woman if a man is afraid or is not stepping up to do the job that Yahweh wants him to do. All right, and in the book of Suzanna, it talks about her being a righteous woman and her husband as well, and that people would come and they would have lawsuits and judge people in her husband's garden. He had a very nice garden attached to his house. And that there were a couple of wicked judges that were there, a couple of ancients. And so we're going to start right here in verse 6. These kept much at Joachim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. That is Susanna's husband. Now when the people departed away at noon, Suzanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. And they perverted their own mind, and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet does not one show another his grief. For they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And the one said to the other, "Let us now go home, for it is dinner time." So when they were gone out, they parted the one from the other. And turning back again, they came to the same place. And after they had asked one another the cause, they acknowledged their lust. Then they appointed a time both together, when they might find her alone. And it fell out, as they watched a fit time, she went in as before with her two maids only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the two elders that had hid themselves and watched her. Then she said to her maids, "Bring me oil and my washing balls, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash me." And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, "Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us. And we are in love with thee, therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee." Now, in this time period and in the Torah, it says that by the witness of two or three shall every word be established. So these two men knew that if they both witnessed against her, she would be killed for adultery. So they were willing to kill to get their way. And in verse 22, then Suzanna sighed and said, "I am straitened on every side, for if I do this thing, it's death unto me. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it, than to sin in the sight of Yahweh." With that, Suzanna cried out with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Suzanna. So at this time, they take her and they want to put her to death, and they say that she did such and such. And then Daniel comes in. Daniel and the Lion's Den. This is such an awesome book because it gives us insight into Daniel, and that he had wisdom. Yahweh gave him wisdom. Let's see if I can find that part. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, "I am clear from the blood of this woman." Then all the people turned toward him and said, "What mean these words that thou hast spoken?" So he, standing in the midst of them, "Are ye such fools, you sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth you have condemned a daughter of Israel?" I love this because Yahuwah falls upon him. He doesn't want her to be killed. She's a righteous man. The whole book starts out talking about her. She's righteous. She has a righteous lineage. Her husband is righteous. She's never been known to do anything wrong. And so Daniel has this great idea. And he asks if he can question them. So he takes the one guy away from the other guy, elder, and he questions each of them. And their stories don't line up. And because their stories don't line up, he realizes that they're lying. And because of this examination, Suzanna lives and the two elders die. I love this story because it shows us what to do if we're in a situation of being raped. We're to cry out. I wish I had known that. When I found myself in that situation, I was afraid, and I succumbed because I was afraid of getting hurt. But if I had this story, if it was still part of our Bibles, then I would have known It would have been better to been beat up than to be defiled. And then I would have known to cry out. This should still be a part of our Bible. It also shows that Yahuwah loves us. He loves women. He doesn't want us defiled, and he doesn't want us, he doesn't want men bearing false witness against us. He even caused Daniel to raise up and save her. I just think this is awesome. It's awesome for us to know, both as men, that Yahweh gives a rip about what you do to us, and it tells women that Yahweh gives a rip about what's done to us. So next I want to read another story out of the book of Judah.